Hello, everybody. I am Marietta Paxson here with Little Dreamers, here to answer your questions for free. So I'm so excited for everyone that participated, and I hope I am kind of starting a new thing as I'm trying to figure out all of the easiest way to streamline everything. So for those of you who submitted a question on my post today, that's how I'm going to do it from now on. So I'll post that every week. You'll comment help in the comments, and then I'll message you to get details on your situation and kind of the help that you're looking for, and then I'll be able to answer it tonight. So, Janice, I do see your question here. If we have time, I'll get to it. I'm trying to keep these to 30 minutes so that we don't have a ton of time. So that those who don't have a ton of time can, not have to sit here for hours and listen to me jabber about babies. So, I wanted to do two things really quick before I start. I first wanted to read a review that I received this week. I just wanted to read it to you because it's awesome. She says, Marietta completely changed my experience as a mother of two. I was exhausted, burnt out, felt disconnected from everyone and everything, and was doing everything I could to simply make it through each day. I had tried to make changes on my own to help my baby sleep better without much success. After just a week of working with Marietta, my baby was sleeping through the night and taking naps in her crib, and she was falling asleep on her own. I am finally feeling like myself again and feel so much more present and connected to my loved ones. And my sweet baby girl is so much more content now that she is getting the restorative sleep she needs too. My only regret is that I didn't find out about and get help from Little Dreamers sooner. I read that, and that just resonated with me so much of why I'm doing this. I was a burnt out mom of three and was not getting sleep, and my babies weren't getting sleep, and no one was thriving. We were all surviving, but nobody was thriving. And so this is why I do it. You have to have sleep to be able to connect, to build your attachment, to function, thrive. It's a basic essential part of life and being a mom and taking care of people. And so if you're not getting that, then everything else is suffering. So I loved the way she described it, that she was disconnected from everyone and everything, burnt out, exhausted. That's exactly how it feels. And so then to feel like yourself again, I would say it takes some time after having a baby to feel like yourself again. And I think sleep plays a big part in that. So thank you so much, Cece, for leaving that review. It just reaffirmed why I'm doing this and all those late nights and long hours and different things that I put in, that I am doing this for that. I love that. I also wanted to just give you guys a shout out. If you are local to Utah County, I am starting a momming support group. So it's not necessarily sleep related. I'm a marriage and family therapist, licensed and practicing in the state of Utah. So if you are local to Utah County, I will be starting a momming support group. And what this pretty much means is once a month, we're starting in January, and it will be 4 times in the month of January, and every Tuesday at 7 p.m. in Pleasant Grove. So if you want more details, you are welcome to PM me. You can scroll down past a few posts and get more information when I posted about it, and I'll continue to remind you guys about it. But pretty much every Tuesday, 7 p.m., we will meet. It will be a group of moms and myself, and we're going to meet, and we'll have different topics that we're going to talk about to kind of learn and grow. But it's also a place, like if you've ever done any type of therapy group in the group setting, I don't have to tell you how beneficial it is because it speaks for itself. But if you've never done it, give this a chance and see what you think. It's one of the most healing and growth pushing ways to heal and to grow. I mean, if you're suffering, if you're hurting, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if emotions are caving in on you, and I think any mom feels these things at any point, then this could be an awesome opportunity for you. So I'm super excited about it. It's only $20 a group session, and normally my therapy sessions are $110. So this is a huge you get huge benefits with like minimal price. It's such a great way to go. So if you're interested in joining, I'd love to have you. Shoot me an email, send me a message, or scroll back and see my post on it, and you can go ahead and register. And if you refer a friend, or if you share it on Facebook and someone decides to come, you get $10 off of your month-long purchase. So super excited about that. Okay, so feel free to pass that along. I'm doing Little Dreamers because I want to help moms. I want them to feel connected and feel like they're themselves and be present with their children. And it's the same reason I'm doing this support group, because this is the hardest job ever, right? And it never ends. And out of all the jobs that we do in our lives, out of everything we do, this one needs support. We need to support each other more, and we need to be more aware of the emotional experience of being a mom, and to be able to let that be seen and heard and validated. And I'm just so excited about it. So, okay, I could talk about that all night, but I won't. We'll move on to questions. I'm going to try to do a better job of noting the time, because I did not do a good job last time. So we're going to go ahead and start with Krista Blackburn. She says, and I'm sorry, these are not in age chronological order. I know I try and do that sometimes, but it was a crazy day getting here. I started a little bit late, as you guys can see. So we're just reading them as I got them, as they came in. So Krista says, my baby goes through a phase every couple of months where she'll just not nurse very much for a few days, and it really throws off her naps and nighttime sleep because she's waking to feed more. She's 7 months, and we're starting solids at 8 months. I'm so confused why she does this, and more so very torn on if I should just feed her more at night when she wakes for it. Most of the time she wakes twice a night, and I don't want her to get in the habit of more. She's a chubby, healthy baby at over 17 pounds and turns 7 months old tomorrow. How do I handle her additional wakings without making her go hungry? But also not get her used to expecting multiple night feeds, because seriously, she must be hungry with how little she's been nursing over the last couple of days. Okay, so Krista, I don't know why she's decided one day to not nurse, or maybe it starts opposite than that. Maybe it starts at night. One night she starts waking up more and wants to nurse more than normal, and if she gets fed more than normal, it would make sense that the next day she doesn't need to eat as much because she just got a whole night long full of meals, right? So I don't know which way it's starting, but regardless of which way it's starting, her body really is in a rhythm of eating during the day and not eating at night. And kids' appetites fluctuate so much, right? You'll see this in toddlers. Oh my word. I swear my toddlers can go like days without eating a thing, and then they'll just devour everything. I don't think babies are exactly the same, but to me, it makes sense that her appetite is going to fluctuate based on maybe teething, or maybe if she gets sick, or maybe if she got to eat the night before, or just all sorts of different things. But her body's in a rhythm of, hey, during the day, that's when I get my calories, and at night I get a few calories, but not all of it, right? And so I think as parents, and I am guilty of this very much, where I think, oh my word, I don't want my child to go hungry. I always have to feed them. I have to feed them before they get hungry, and I don't know why we're so afraid of that. Like, what happens? What happens if she gets a little hungry? What happens? I mean, it's not like I'm saying, what if she's hungry always, indefinitely, but what if one night she's kind of hungry? I think about myself, and I realize I'm an adult, and it's different for kids, but, you know, I will have not eaten, and will go to sleep hungry, and sleep just fine, and be okay, right? Because my body's in that rhythm. It's easier not to eat at night if I'm used to not eating at night. Now, I think age appropriateness and how long can they go at night and all of that needs to be taken into consideration with your pediatrician. But I think if she's on a schedule of feeding her twice at night and then decides to wake up more at night, it doesn't mean she's hungry. It just means that she wants probably to nurse so that she can soothe back to sleep. But I wouldn't take it as hunger signs, even if she didn't eat very much during the day. I would feed her your normal amount during the night that you're used to feeding her, and then the next day she'll probably gain her appetite back and eat more that following day, instead of perpetuating the cycle of eating less during the day and then eating more at night, and then you having to kind of force that change on her. Does that make sense? Sometimes I don't always feel like I'm super great at explaining things. So if you have further questions in what I'm talking about, feel free to comment them, and I'll do my best type and respond back after the video's over. So that's kind of my take on that. At 7 months, and you can talk to your pediatrician, but 2 feeds is plenty for a 7-month-old. If she doesn't now, probably soon she should be dropping down to 1 feeding. So, Katie Noel. She says, how do I know if it's time? I'm going to look at the time. Katie, see? I'm getting better at this. Katie Noel says, how do I know if it's time to phase out naps? I have 21-month twins. Twin B acts older than her age and always has, even according to her doctor. She wants to drop her nap. I feel like it's too early though. I do too. I don't recommend dropping naps until at least age 3. So she's got a while still. Okay, she's in a toddler bed and does great with it at night and always stays tucked in until morning. Yeah, and that's the thing. Toddler beds are going to be harder at nap time just because nap time is a harder time to sleep. So you have to be super consistent there that if she gets out, we're putting her right back in bed for nap time. I'll keep reading her question. She sleeps 12 hours, usually 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. 5 or take a half hour. Oh, a half hour each way depending on our day. Okay, but she's almost always exactly 12 hours from when she goes to bed. That's good. That's a good amount of night sleep. But at that age, I mean, she should still be getting a nap anywhere from 1 to 2 hours during the day. So nap time is usually 1:30. It's been drifting later in the day because they're not tired as early. Okay. I can get twin A to nap for 1 to 2 hours by 2 p.m., but twin B refuses to sleep. She'll get out of her bed and play with her toys. She doesn't disturb her sister, though. They share a room as we don't have other options. My room is out for nap times, too. Probably 1 out of 3 days she'll play for an hour, past when her sister falls asleep, and then go to bed and nap for an hour. But most days she won't nap. Some days she gets tired and cranky at 5. Occasionally she'll fall asleep wherever she's at, and then she'll nap for 45 minutes to an hour. Some days she's perfectly fine until bed at 8. I feel like she might be ready to do every other day naps, but I don't know how to get her to stay in bed and not play. Okay, so I want to give up on nap time. If she's not waking her sister up, then I just keep doing what you're doing. You're putting her to bed. And your schedule is a little bit different. You do an 8 to 8, and my ideal schedule is a 7 to 7, so you're welcome to adjust this if you want because of that hour, but I'm going to go ahead and talk at the 7 a.m. hour. I like kids at this age to wake up at 7 and go down for a nap from 1 to 3, and then have bedtime around 7:30. So she is getting a ton of nighttime sleep, but if she doesn't take a nap, you might want her to put her to bed a little bit earlier. I would just do quiet time. I don't do toys in the bedroom, so that may be something to think about, is taking the toys out of the bedroom and giving her just some books or something. My rule is you don't have to sleep, but you have to lay down and read books, and my kids have been pretty good about doing that. They're more likely to fall asleep than if they're up playing, so that's something to think about. But I would just keep doing quiet time. If she doesn't sleep, and that's her choice. We can't force her to sleep, but we can provide the time and the atmosphere for her to sleep. But I would continue to do exactly what you're doing until the age of 3. And if she starts waking up or things start changing, then obviously we can accommodate and make room for that. But I would just keep doing exactly what you're doing, maybe with a few tweaks here and there, taking out the toys or telling her to read books. But if she doesn't nap, I put her to bed early, and if she's getting her hour nap, then that's great. But I would still continue to just do quiet time, because you might find in like a month or 2 that she starts napping again consistently. So she's just too young to take it away completely. Okay, Hillary Weber, I don't know, you guys. Okay, my baby is just barely 13 months, 3 months. My baby is barely 3 months. I feel like she isn't sleeping very well at all. Naps are usually 15 to 25 minutes, and I usually can't get her to sleep without nursing her to sleep. She usually takes a long nap around 8 p.m. for about an hour, and then I feel like she doesn't really have nighttime sleep until around 1 or 2 a.m. Most nights she will sleep for about 4 to 5 hours before waking up. Then it goes back to feeding every 2 to 3 hours, and she'll sleep between feedings until around 8 or 9. She'll sleep between feedings around, so she's not really waking up for the day until 8 or 9. That's what I'm hearing from this, Hillary. You can tell me if I'm wrong there. From there, it's a feed, sleep, awake cycle until nighttime. Oh, feed to sleep and then awake cycle until nighttime. We live in Chicago and have flown back to Utah for 5-day stretches 2 times last month, once for her baby blessing and once for Thanksgiving during the time. We were in Utah. She slept great during the night, 6 to 10 hours each. That's great. I think she was just exhausted for all the people and stimulation she was getting. Her naps were typical. We've also had a lot of visitors since she was born. I probably have had only 4 to 5 normal weeks since she's been born. I feel like all the inconsistency has contributed to her bad naps. Until she was about 7 or 8 weeks, she was newborn sleeping all the time, and I didn't have to help her sleep. She won't take a binky, often Doesn't like her swing or carry on, or will wake up if I put her in her crib. Put her in her crib from where? Is she falling asleep on you and then you're putting her in her crib? I do not put her in a loose sleep sack because I read that's not safe. Oh, I do put her in a loose sleep sack because I read it's not safe to swaddle them after 2 months. I like to keep the swaddle until 4 months when they're old enough to self-soothe and sleep train, and then you want to take away the swaddle because they could roll over and suffocate. Yeah, if she's rolling over, then you need to take the swaddle away, but if she's not rolling over, then it helps with the startle reflex thing. Reflex? Okay, I'm awful with words sometimes. It helps with that and will actually help her sleep longer. So I would keep swaddling her until 4 months. She's close. She's getting there. Oh, and here you tell me. She doesn't roll completely over yet, but sometimes gets to her side, so I'm nervous to swaddle her. Yeah, you might not want to swaddle her then, and that's fine. Should I be trying to get her on a feed, wake, sleep daytime cycle? Feed, wake, sleep. I don't know what you mean by that. Like, you mean eat, play, sleep? So you feed her when she wakes up? Or is the cycle she's on okay? I feel like I nurse her so randomly. Should I be trying to get her more on a schedule? How can I help her nap more and shorten her wake times, which are usually 60 to 90 minutes? Okay, so the first thing I do, Hillary, is I go to my website, scroll down, and find my newborn survival sleep guide, and it says next to it, get the guide. Click on that and get it. It's completely free, and it's going to answer a lot of your questions. So the main rule with babies up to 14, oh my word, not 14, 16 weeks or 4 months is it's perfectly and 100% okay to do whatever you need to do to help them sleep, okay? Then there's like tips that you can do to kind of help them so that when they sleep train or when they're learning to sleep on their own, it can be easier for them. So, again, like I said, I like to keep the swaddle until 4 months. You can ask your pediatrician, tell your pediatrician what she's doing and ask him if it's safe for her to keep it or not. Otherwise, yeah, you can transition. If you do transition, what's going to help her the most right now, because she still has that startle reflex, is the Merlin Magic Sleep Suit or like a zippity zip, because the arms have ends on them. They're zipped in, so it helps her feel more secure where she's not just in the middle of nowhere with no boundaries. That's what she's looking for. So either of those should help her. Should you be trying to get her on more of a schedule? Yeah, so her days and nights seem a little bit messed up. At 3 months, I mean, she should be going to bed pretty early, between like 6 and 8 p.m. And I had a 3-month-old who was going to bed at 5 and sleeping till not waking at night, but bedtime was at 5 and wake time was at 7. So that's like the extreme, right? He was such a great sleeper in the beginning, but yeah, I would try to put her to bed. What did you say? She's falling asleep. Oh, I don't remember. I think you said she's taking a nap at 8. She usually takes a long nap around 8. If she's not napping during the day, that's not a long nap. That's bedtime. And what I would actually do is just move bedtime earlier. Try putting her to bed at like 7 and see what she does. At 3 months, there really isn't a lot of consistency. She's starting to the point where she can have a pretty consistent wake time. So you can force that and start waking her up at a consistent time of like 7, 7:30, 6:30, whatever time she's most likely to wake up. You can start waking her up at that time and start putting her down for her first nap about an hour later. Let's see, you also asked, more of a schedule. So then I put her down an hour later, and then depending on how long she sleeps, you're going to just time it off of wake times. And this is all in the Newborn Survival Sleep Guide. So go get it, because it'll tell you how long to keep them awake and what to look for when you put them to sleep. It'll tell you that there is no schedule. She's going to be taking about 4 to 5 naps a day, and that's okay. That's normal, but it's not going to be at the same time. It's going to tell you that she probably won't sleep really well if you put her in her crib alone, but she'll probably sleep better if you're holding her, or if lots of other things that just help her sleep. And so it's perfectly okay to do all of those things at this age. She doesn't know how to sleep alone yet. When she turns 16 weeks, that's when she'll start to learn how to sleep alone. So hopefully that answers all of your questions. Let me know if I missed any, and then just go get that newborn survival sleep guide. Like I said, it's completely free, just on my website. Okay. Joey and Jessica Tippett. Joey and Jessica, I'm assuming this is Jessica. Jessica Tippett, do you know Lynn? Lynn's my good friend, and you have the same last name as her since she got married, so I wonder if you're related. And if so, that's fun. It's always fun to make connections, and maybe not, so you can just tell me that I'm a crazy person and I don't know. Okay, she says, my 6-week-old has a hard time sleeping on his own at night and for naps. Okay, so Jessica, if you are just tuning in, go back to minute 13 and 15 seconds and listen to Hillary's question, what I read about her. Her baby's a little bit older, 3 months, but this all goes in the same cycle from 0 to 4 months. It's all in the same thing. And so you will want to jump onto my website and get my newborn survival sleep guide. It's completely free. You have to scroll down a little bit, click get the guide. It'll take you back to Facebook Messenger, confirm that you want it, and they'll give you the download for free. And it's going to go over a ton of stuff, but I'll read through and offer suggestions right here on your question too. Okay, at first, he would sleep for the first 3 hours at night in a dock and tot in his crib or our bed and with an ollie swaddle and white noise. But then after that first 3 hours, he woke up what felt like every hour or less. I'm breastfeeding and cut dairy out of my diet, and that helped a little bit, but he was still only sleeping in short spurts. It was so exhausting that instead of risking falling asleep in the chair, we've been bed sharing and trying to make it as safe as possible with minimal bedding, etc. He'll really only sleep in the crook of my arm, and we both fall asleep with him nursing. But I don't feel comfortable with this and would like to change it. During the day, he falls asleep quickest and sleeps the best in a wrap. Do you mean like a carrier, like you have him wrapped on you? I've tried several times to lay him down in a monring or pack and play with the dock and tot that I set up in our closet where it is pitch black, but he still wakes up a few minutes after laying him down. He usually doesn't stay awake more than an hour between naps. That's good. And I get up with him and my toddlers at 6 a.m. When should bedtime be? Okay, I'll get to that. I'm just underlining it. I haven't done much of a routine with the baby because it's hard to tell when he's ready because he sleeps so much. During the day, I follow the easy schedule. He will take a binky but spits it out unless I'm holding it, so I haven't gone into work for nighttime yet. I'm okay with just having him nap in the wrap during the day if I have to, even though it's physically taxing. I would really like a solution for the frequent night wakings. Okay. When should bedtime be? That's a great question. So at 6 weeks, somewhere between 6 and 8 weeks, they typically understand when daytime is and when nighttime is. So hopefully he's making that transition, and that sleep usually sucks before then because they are waking frequently. They're usually sleeping so great during the day and not sleeping well at night. So hopefully he's making that transition. That means that when a baby first comes, and this is all in the newborn survival guide, but when the baby first comes, like bedtime isn't until 1 or 2 a.m. because they have their nights and days mixed up, and then it gradually gets earlier and earlier. So I don't know if you told me what time you're putting him to bed, but if you don't have a child that's colicky or has like issues like, lots of spitting up and stuff, what's it called? Oh, I can't think of it. Acid reflux? I can't think of it right now. But if you don't have issues like that, then what you'll notice with your baby is they'll just start to get crankier at night, and all you need to do is put them to bed earlier. And it'll gradually go from 2 a.m. in the morning to 1 to midnight to 11 to 10 to 9 to 8 to 7, right? But at 6 weeks, there's really not going to be a ton of a schedule. So aim to put him down somewhere between 6 and 8. You can even put him down as early as 5. And then when he wakes up in the morning, sometime between 6 and 8, you can start your day, and you're right on track, about an hour of wake time. And if you can get him, like soothe him to sleep, 15 minutes before you want him to fall asleep in a swing or something like that, as long as you can keep an eye on him, obviously, so it's safe. But if you can soothe him to sleep like that, so you're not holding him, usually the way that they're going to sleep the best is not when we transition them somewhere, so not when I rock them to sleep and then move them, but when they actually fall asleep and can stay in that position for the whole nap. So if you're going to hold them, great, hold them. If you're going to have them in a wrap, just have them in a wrap. If you're going to put them in a swing, then see if you can have them fall asleep in the swing. It is hard to keep the binky in the mouth. It's so hard. It's like, that's so soothing for them and they love it, but they can't keep it in. I don't have any safe tricks for that. I really don't. I don't have any safe tricks to keep the binky in the mouth. If you have a safe one, let me know what it is. I don't have any safe ones, so I can't tell you any mom tricks that I've done because they're not safe. What else? Putting him to bed earlier should help with the frequent night wakings. The more well rested he is during the day, that's going to help him sleep better at night. At this age, I would say like 3 feedings a night is completely normal, and anything above that is just him not knowing the difference between day and night. Okay, and I don't have a ton of information on when he's going to sleep and when he's waking up and stuff like that. So hopefully this was helpful. Let me know if you have any other questions, Jessica. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to Kelsey. She says, my baby is 2.5 months old, so we have a ton of newborns today, newborn stuff. Kelsey, go back and let's start at minute 13 and listen to all these questions because they're all in the newborn stage from 0 to 4 months, so they all kind of apply to the same thing. She says, my baby is 2.5 months old. During the day, if I hold her, she will sleep for a good 1.5 to 2 hours, but if I put her down, she won't sleep longer than 15 minutes, right? This is exactly what I was talking about. Newborn babies 0 to 4 months need help soothing to sleep. So need help staying asleep, need assistance, need aids, need all of this. And so this is it. When she gets exactly what she needs, she can sleep for 2 hours. When she doesn't, she's only sleeping for 15 minutes. That's very normal at this age. Sometimes she falls asleep in my arms and then I put her down. Other times I put her down while she's awake and then she falls asleep on her own. Either way, she won't sleep for long unless I hold her. Right now she goes to bed about 10 and sleeps until about 2 to eat. And then after that, she wakes up every 2 hours to eat help. So I'd start putting her to bed earlier, Kelsey. As I read before and in my newborn survival guide, if you go get that on my website, you can put her to bed as early as 6 if you need to. So you're cutting out naps and you're putting her to bed instead. But I'd move that up to 10 at 2.5 months, not 10, sorry. I'd move that up to 8 because at 2.5 months, she should really know the difference between night and day. And yeah, hopefully, yeah, she's probably not going to sleep great by herself in her crib. She's just not going to. So do whatever you can to help her get the naps that she needs, all of the help that she needs to sleep. Go ahead and give that to her right now, because once she turns 16 weeks or 4 months, then you can start to help her learn to sleep in a crib by herself alone, and she can learn a lot faster. But right now, she's just a newborn. She needs a lot of help to sleep. Okay. Megan Bickler. Let's see here. Maybe you have not a newborn question. Okay, 5 months. Perfect. She says, I'm going to be sleep training my 5-month-old after Christmas. I'm doing Sleep Easy Solutions book. If you have heard of that, I haven't. So I'm sure it's like I'm assuming it's like a gentle method. There are so many sleep books out there, you guys. It's like, I've read so many of them and I still haven't read them all. So, she isn't on a schedule yet, but want to get her on one soon. Any tips to get her on one? So at 5 months, I would do a 3-nap schedule. So she goes to bed around 6:37, usually is up around 6:30. I try and get her back to sleep because I don't feed her till 7. So I assume, yeah. So a good wake up time is anywhere between 6 and 8. So if she's waking up at 6, if she'll sleep longer, that's fine. But you might have a baby who's waking up at 6 and it's okay for her to start her day at 6 or 6:30. One thing that might help her sleep longer is to get her to bed a little bit earlier. So maybe try getting her to bed at like 6:15 or 6 and see if that helps her sleep longer. Okay, so then she naps at 8 for 30 to 45 minutes. After that, it's all over the place. Okay, so I'm just going to assume I'm going to give you a 3-month schedule, and you can adjust it based on her wake times or what you need to do. But I would say she's waking at 7 a.m. I want the first nap no later than 8:30. So if she's waking up earlier, if she's waking up at 6:30, you can move that, first nap up to 8 for sure. And 5 to 6 months is right when you're transitioning from timing her naps based off of when she woke up and timing them by the clock of saying, oh, she goes to sleep every day for her first nap at 8, which is great. We want to do it by the clock. We just kind of want to look at what her schedule is and then say, oh yes, she usually wakes up at 7, so we're going to start her nap at 8:30. Oh no, actually she usually wakes up at 6:30, so we're going to start her first nap by 8, which is totally great. So then one day when she wakes up at 6, when we don't have to put her down early, we can just keep her up till whatever her first nap time is. If that's at 8, then we just put her down at 8. So that's how you get consistent with it. So yeah, so my ideal schedule is to wake up at 7, first nap by 8:30, asleep by 8:30. I don't want her awake for more than an hour and a half, and it might even be closer to an hour. So maybe you're putting her to sleep at 8. A second nap, it can be anywhere at this age, around 11:30. So it can be, 11:15 to 12, sometimes 12:30 if that first nap is really long. So right around there. And then that third nap is going to be around 3:30. And that third nap is only 30 minutes to 45 minutes. It should be that short. And then she'll wake up, and then, you think about it. Okay, well, let's say she fell asleep at 3 and she takes a 30-minute nap. That's up at 3:30. So she could go to bed at 5:30 that night. Easy, right? So she can go to bed earlier than she's going to bed, and that might help her mornings out. Did I answer that? Okay. Okay, so she feed her till 7. Also, what are your thoughts on teething and sick babies after working hard on sleep training? And then they randomly get sick. You want to comfort them, but you don't want the sleep training to go out the window. No, you don't. And Megan, I wish I was more on top of the ball. I've been trying to create a sick and sleep guide. I don't know what I'm going to call it, but to talk about this exact issue. And I just don't have enough time in the day to get everything that I want to get done. So it probably will come out next year. But my tip for you on that is, obviously you're going to take into consideration what ailment she's dealing with. So if it's a cold or if it's an ear infection, those are not awful to deal with when they're sick. I mean, if she has the worst was one time at our house, we had every single person in my house, 5 people had the 24-hour bug going through it. I swear it's like a 48-hour bug. And it was awful. All 5 of us were throwing up, and everyone was so tired, sleeping all the time. And my kids don't ever sleep on me because they don't like to sleep on me. And I took naps with all of them that weekend, sleeping with me. Yeah. So the less serious the illness, realize that there's a difference between comforting your child and soothing your child to sleep. So if she has a cold or an ear infection or teething or anything like that, and she wakes up out of the norm and it's because she's not feeling good, go to her and help her feel better. What does she need? Does she need some medicine? Does she just need me to sing her another song? Does she just need a drink of water? What does she need to help her feel better? And then lay her back down in her crib awake to go to sleep and tell her it's time to go to sleep. And you will have helped her feel better, and then she already knows how to fall asleep. So that's what comforting a child looks like when they're sick. Now, if they are so sick where it's severe and it's scary and it's hard, my rule is a 3-day rule. So say, okay, you're rocking her to sleep because she just is miserable and it's really scary and it's hard for you and it's hard for her and it's hard for everyone. And so you rock her to sleep one night, right? And you rock her to sleep 2 nights, right? By the 3rd night, you need to break that so that it doesn't become a habit. Do something different. And most illnesses break within 2 days. If it's not, I realize I'm saying most of the ones that I've seen my kids have that. It can be 2 days are really hard, and then you start to see some improvement. So the second you start to see some improvement, let her go back to sleep on her own, right? So yeah, that's what we've seen in my homework. I'm hoping to gather more information from moms and to be able to work on this guide. But the most important thing is that you are comforting her and then letting her fall asleep on her own. She already knows how to do that, so it's actually easier with a child that's sick if she's been sleep trained. So hopefully that helps. If you have more questions, Megan, let me know. Okay, we are so running out of time. Kayla, let's go ahead and answer your question, Kayla. Okay, she says, hey there, me again. And I'm so glad that she's coming in because I love returnees. That tells me that it's helpful and you're getting good information. So you're always welcome to ask questions every week. She says, my daughter turns 16 weeks next week. I'm hoping I'm right in that she's ready to sleep train, but I'm just trying to figure out how to go about it and make a solid game plan. She's in our room in a dock and tot within a bassinet. She's in a zippity zip and uses her binky. Lately, the binky has become such a crutch. If we aren't in there, the second she wakes up to transition to deeper sleep, the 40-minute mark, and to pop that binky in, it's a lost cause, and at that point. for naps and nights that's happening. So to calm her down, we will at times need to rock the bassinet so she latches to the binky. The last few days, no method of soothing worked. I'm guessing the 4-month sleep regression. I would agree with you. She says, today I've tried to not intervene and helped transition her and have let her cry it out, waiting up to 15 minutes to go in. Is this okay? It's not bad, it's fine, but you have to make sure, Kayla. Oh, there's Kayla, she's here, yay. Okay, so Kayla, you have to make sure that cry it out doesn't mean we put our child to sleep and then when they wake up we let them cry themselves back to sleep. That's not what cry it out means. Cry it out means I take away all the sleep props, right? So the zippity zip is fine, but I'm taking away the DACA tot and I'm taking away the binky and I'm putting her in her, I would even transition her from the bassinet at this point just because she's going to be too big for her soon, assuming it's the size of most bassinets. I put her in a pack and play her crib. But we're taking those things away, putting her in that flat surface and letting her fall asleep at the beginning of the night without those things. You know, the reason that she's waking at that 40-minute mark and she can't transition is because she doesn't have that binky, and that's what she needs. She needs it to be the same as it was when she fell asleep. So yeah, if you're sleep training, waiting 15 minutes to go in is perfect because that gives her the opportunity to use the skills that she developed to fall asleep at the beginning of the night. But we have to make sure that she has developed and used those skills at the beginning of the night. Because otherwise we're expecting her to do something that she doesn't know how to do. So let's help her do it at the beginning of the night. And she says, oh man, all of them gone. I know. It's so scary. It's so scary because I know how scary it is, but I promise you it will be okay that she can learn how to sleep without those things. But we're so scared and we think that's the only way she can get to sleep. Okay. Am I doing it too early even though next week she's 16 weeks? I would just wait till she's 16 weeks. I won't work with clients to sleep train until they're 16 weeks, but you're welcome to ask your pediatrician and get his approval and then do what you need to do. I found she gives in around 30 minutes and sleeps 30 minutes, then wakes up screaming, overtired, and won't soothe completely. She'll rub her face at times, but gets too frustrated to stick with it or go back to sleep. And she just has, I mean, she's not gonna be able to do it until she completely relies on herself, until she can do it herself, right? So when we take away those aids, and then we can work in it to see, to help her sleep better. So, I mean, it's like a principle in life, right? Like, when something hard happens and we don't want to do it, it's like, when we're forced to do it, we figure it out and we do it. It's the same for kids. She's going to figure out how to sleep. Okay, so we've got an overtired baby and a tired mom on top of it. I've just done this with naps and not at nighttime yet. And I would actually, if you sleep train, I would start at night because the need to sleep is greater and then continue with naps during the day. I need a game plan, so I know what I'm saying. I mean, you'd be perfect for my sleep plan package, which pretty much will give you the personalized sleep plan with the perfect sleep training method for you, with me on call to help you for 2 weeks via text, email, and phone calls. Just saying, I do offer payment plans. You'd be perfect for it. Like everything, it would take care of all the questions for you. Okay, and then she says her schedule is waking at 6:30. I start nap time routine around an hour to an hour and 15 minutes, depending on her sleep cues. Then she has a total of about 3 to 4 naps and has been going to bed around 6 with a wake up around 3. That all sounds pretty good, except the last few days where it's waking 1, 3, 5, and finally 6. Yep, and that's the 4-month sleep regression. Okay, in general sleep training, yes. How long do you wait to just call it quits and take them out to reset them? For a nap, 1 hour. So if you're doing cried out, they have 1 hour to fall asleep for a nap. And if they don't fall asleep after an hour, you can go get them and play with them, keep them awake, engage them, and you can try for another nap in like 45 minutes. Okay, Cassandra. Cassandra says, I have a 10-month-old twins and they sleep from 8:30 to 8. They do, and you're waking them at 8, so it tells me that they're not getting enough sleep. I'd put them to bed earlier. I also like kids to go to bed between 6 and 8, so they do have a late bedtime. And they do a 3, 3, 4. Oh, that tells me 4 is really long. I don't really like the 3, 3. Oh no, it's the 2-3-4. I don't like that schedule. I don't necessarily love the 3-3-4 either. 4 is just a really long time for a 10-month-old to be awake, so I would try like a 3-3-3 and see how they do on that. Maybe 3-3-3 and a half, but that might help them get enough sleep at night so you don't have to wake them up in the morning. With a 50-minute morning nap and a 1.5-hour afternoon nap, and that morning nap could be longer because that's just one sleep cycle. We like to see it at least an hour so that we know that they've transitioned to a new sleep cycle and are getting that sleep if they need it. My question is the snooze feed. So they do one feeding at 4 to 6 and then back to sleep till 8. I've tried dropping it and they only sleep till 6:30 or 7 without it. How do I get rid of it and get them enough nighttime sleep? I would just have them get up at 6:30 or 7 and then I put them to bed at 6:30 or 7. And so if they're waking up at like 7, you're going to have a nap from 10 to 11, and then your second nap is going to be like, I don't know, like 2 to 3:30, and then nap time is going to be 6:30 or something. Well, 2 to 3:30. Yeah, that's right. Is that right? Okay, I think that's right. So that's what I would do. Danny Allen. Oh, and Sandra didn't write the time down. I'll have to go back and check. So Danny Allen. Mac is 10 months. Danny is a previous client of mine, so that's fun to have her on here and getting some sleep help for the transitions, it sounds like. Or not transitions, nap progressions. She says, my Mac is 10 months now and is refusing his nap. I'm wondering if I should adjust his schedule to something an hour later maybe. Okay, so Danny, I don't know what schedule he's on, but let me tell you what like a good 10-month schedule would look like. So again, I'm going to do a 7 a.m. wake up because that's kind of ideal. If it needs to be different, if yours is different, like he's waking up at 6 or waking up at 8, just adjust it. But a 7 a.m. wake up would be like a 10 a.m. nap, so you're doing about 3 hours in between the wake up and the first nap. Again, we're going by the clock, but I do give times, like I'm looking for about a 3-hour window right there, just so that we know when to place our naps. So 7 a.m. wake up, 10 to 11 a.m. first nap, and then you can do that second nap at about 2 to 3, and then that can be an hour long or longer, right? And then bedtime will be about 3 to 3.5 hours after they wake up from their second nap. So that's kind of what it'll look like. Some variations, so I'm more than happy to, if you want to tell me how long his naps are and stuff, I can tell you if they need to be spread out further or not. But that's kind of the ideal. Now, sometimes Mac has been a little stinker with naps, so you may get to a place where you just want him taking a 10 a.m. nap and a 2:30 nap, and they're each only an hour long, and then you have bedtime, because he may just need less day sleep and sleep more at night. So that's something to think about. I'm not sure what schedule he's on, so hopefully that's helped. Okay, guys, I have one last question. This comes from my friend Jessica Mitchell, 4240. Okay, and this is what Jessica says. Her daughter 4 and her son 2 are not getting enough sleep at night. They sleep in their own bedrooms in their own bed. They go to bed well around 7:30 each night and have to be up by 6:30. They have night lights in their room. They each have a clock that turns green at 6:30 and signals they can get up, and they do. Jessica, my first thought is to make sure that night light is an orange light and not a blue light, because an orange light will not decrease melatonin. So make sure that it's orange, okay? It turns green at 6:30 and signals they can get up, and they do. Everything is great. However, I know the kids are waking up between 4:30 and 5, just so early, every morning and just hanging out quietly in their beds. And I know there are moms on here that are going to watch this and be like, what? Your kids are just hanging out quietly in their beds? You have nothing to complain about. She's not complaining about her sleep, she's complaining about they're not getting enough sleep, and she knows they need more, right? Okay. I don't know why they do, and I have talked to them about going back to sleep if they wake up in the night, but they rarely do. They just lay there anticipating 6:30 so they can get up and come out. For 2 hours they lay there, oh my goodness, and then they are cranky because they are tired. What should I do? Okay. Also, their school has a mandatory 1-hour rest period for them each afternoon. They can sleep longer than 2 hours, but their classmates will start moving around. My kids lay down for the 1 hour, but very rarely sleep. And then they are allowed to quietly look at books or color for the rest of the nap period. Okay, so I am sad that Titan, that's the boy, I'm sad that Titan isn't taking a nap because he really still needs one. there's nothing you can do. He's in daycare and you have the quiet time, so you're giving him the opportunity to fall asleep. And if he's not sleeping, then he's not sleeping. I want to make sure I get all of your information. Okay, so here's a couple of thoughts for you. One, you could put him to bed earlier. You could try that. I think you said they're going to bed at 7:30. If their wake time is 6:30, then I like to see 12 hours. I'd like to aim for 12 hours. Some kids need 13 and some kids need 11. But I figure if I'm putting my kids to bed, with 12 hours, aiming for 12 hours at night, then if they don't fall asleep right away and maybe they're waking a little earlier, then they're getting, 11, which is like the minimum that I want to see at 4 years. At 2 years, I want to see like at least 13. So, put him to bed a little bit earlier, maybe 7:15, maybe 7, 6:45, 6:30. Come on. I know you like early bedtime, so you could totally handle that. Maybe don't put him to bed an hour earlier, but maybe like try 15 minutes for a few days and kind of see what they do. That could help them sleep in longer, because sometimes if they're not getting enough sleep, we tend to wake up earlier, so that's one thing you could check out with that. Titan may need to go to bed quite a bit earlier if he's not napping. I recommend like a 6 p.m. bedtime when they stop napping that young. Okay, then my other idea is the wake to sleep. What you do is you go in, so they're waking up at 4:30. Let's just say they're waking up at 4:30. So you set your alarm for 3:30. I know this sounds so fun, right? You set your alarm for 3:30 and you go in and wake them up at 3:30. You take them to the bathroom, go get them a drink, wake them up. Are you okay? I don't know what you're going to do, but wake your kids up at 3:30, right? And then have them go back to sleep. The idea is that, okay, I'm waking them up in the middle of the night, about an hour before they would normally wake up. And the idea here is that if I can wake them up and get them back to sleep before they would normally wake up, that they'll kind of sleep past that wake up at 4:30. So that's something to try. I would try the earlier bedtime and see how that works. It can take up to 2 weeks to see if that's going to be effective. And then if that doesn't work out, then I would try the sleep to wake. The other thing that you can do, and I don't know when you want to kind of throw this in there, is I don't love to use melatonin unless, I don't know, there are situations where I do feel comfortable doing it, but if you know me as a mom, I tend to be more naturally minded. Guys, this is so long, I have to do a better job of cutting these down. And I have really good, if you want a really good melatonin, I like Wink Naturals. They put out a really good one. But what I would recommend doing is tart cherry juice. And you can give them 1 to 2 ounces in the morning and 1 to 2 ounces at night. And that actually naturally increases melatonin, so that hopefully they can go to sleep earlier when you put them to bed and then sleep in a little bit later. So those are 3 things that I probably look at trying with them. Probably starting just with the earlier bedtime and getting more aggressive if things aren't working. So hopefully that helps, Jessica. Okay, guys, thank you so much. If you are interested in working with me, shoot me a message and I can send you a link to schedule a free 15-minute consultation, and we can go over which package would work best for you and what that would look like. I do offer payment plans, and I would love to get you guys scheduled on my calendar. So, what else? Momming support group. If you guys haven't heard of it, I will be starting it in January for moms to connect, recharge, heal, break down shame, and support each other in this hard thing called motherhood. So if you're interested in that, shoot me a DM or message me and I can give you more information, answer any of your questions there. And yeah, thanks so much, you guys. It's been fun. I'll update this video with the outline of what we talked about, and I will see you guys next week. So have a good week, and thanks for joining me.